like an instant cipher. So for those who catch this, oh man, here my phone gonna ring right when that happens.
Of course.
For those that are just joining us, man, shoot, this is a wonderful meeting with the Grateful Brothers. We're gonna start this thing off like we always do, man, with a word of prayer. We're gonna get into some gratitude. We're gonna let the spirit flow like it always does, because it's always a wonderful time when we get together, man. So bow your heads with me real quick. Most High, one who created us all, the one who knew about this meeting before the world was even laid, before Adam was created. We give you thanks and praise first and foremost that we're drawing air into our lungs, that our heart is beating outside of ourselves. These things we do not control, but you do. Right now, you have assembled the four of us together to do some amazing work, probably bigger than we all realize, and the scope of which is going to touch so many lives that we won't be able to even recount it all. The only thing we'll be able to do is give you glory. So we give it to you first and foremost right now in these meetings. Let your spirit dwell and give us the ability to ideate and come up with the ideas and the strategies to help your people the most and to serve you the best that we can. Because we know once that happens, all these things shall be added unto us. Thank you for hearing and answering our prayers. In the name of your son, I pray. Amen.
Jesus. Amen.
That's man. I want to start off with some wins and with some gratitude, brothers, because it's been a serious, I guess, past couple of weeks. I know we haven't met for like at least a month, but a lot has transpired, including, the fact that Greg and I were brave enough to step away from 9-to-5 positions, joining Rod and his trek to be the ultimate entrepreneur. I know John is making moves down there in Florida as well, but just to mention some of the wins that have happened lately. This week, I was able to get my first sale for video editing. It's one of the services I didn't even think was going to sell first. You know what I'm saying? But my brother down there in Florida, he actually owns his own beauty supply shop, and he does mold remediation, and he's trying to get into the podcast space. So he started recording, and he saw what I was doing with my podcast, and he wanted me to, do a little bit of work on his. So I was able to send him an invoice. I should frame that joint and put it on the wall, like right behind me. It's going to look very, general, but it's the first one. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy about that. Also got a chance to serve my gift at brother. I know his father passed away recently. I officiated his father's funeral, and the family found it fit to ask me to do such a thing. So just my willingness and I guess humbling myself to the will of God to do that was something impactful, because I've never felt that I was worthy to do something like that before. Like in my mind, I never thought I'd be asked for something like that. And I remember God told me something very profound when I went to him to like deliberate about whether I should accept it or not. He said something pretty simply and plain. He said, they're not asking you, they're asking for your gift. And when he said that, I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, your gift is what I gave you. So I turn it on and off. You're just the vessel. And when he put it in that perspective, I was like, it's my duty to serve. And that kind of momentum from the beginning of the week has carried me all through the week, and blessings have just been happening. I just got a check in the mail from my mortgage company. It was like they sent me some money, but I don't even know how it happened. For me to read it and explain it to you, I wouldn't be able to do it. It was some technical mumbo jumbo on there saying, Mr. Tramel, we're giving you this amount back on some such a payment. I was just like, look, I'll take it where I can get it, and it came through, and it was just like a blessing, man. But, these are just a few of the big things that I'm thankful for. But I'm also thankful for the morning routine that I got in place, due from inspiration that came from this group, for the increase in posting from inspiration that came from this group. This is a testimony of how when you surround yourself with the right people, with like-minded people, you start to do pretty amazing things. Even in your own life, it might surprise you. And then other people will see you doing it. I got my little brother waking up with me at 5 o'clock because he read the book too. You know what I'm saying? Now we're working out. I got another brother of mine who we go swimming every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock because he wants to start getting up. It's like, and I see John always with the watch at like 3 something in the morning heading to the gym. I'm like, I'm not getting up that early, but I'm getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Not that early, but I'm getting in there.
You got this.
I got it. And, before I, pass the mic, I want to give flowers out right now, because it's important that you do that with people in your circle as well. Celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the progress, no matter how small it may seem or how big it may seem, because you never know whose lives are being impacted in connection with the people that you know. Greg, you already know, bro. You the connector. I see you getting into the downtown office space and being more productive at downtown Fort Worth. I see you being manager of that open space in that where you can bring in other creators out there in that studio that you got that job for. And I see you putting in work off the side, having these spaces where creatives and entrepreneurs can meet. And you've been doing that for weeks. It's not something you've just been doing, but it constantly catches momentum. You had Tommy Harris of the Chicago Bears commenting on our live yesterday. Or not yesterday, was it Wednesday? You know, it was yesterday. I'm right. Like, I'm seeing that. John, I've been on TikTok. I ain't on there heavy, but I see you posted.
Yeah.
You know? And I see you I see you have always been one of the most passionate people I have known about anything that you talk about, whether it's just private conversation or public. You're very passionate about what it is you speak about, which is the reason why I know you being in the midst of this group is essential, man. Because that type of passion, not all of us have it the way that you do. Every time you speak about something, even if it's in another language, bro, I always feel what you're saying. And due to your inspiration, man, we starting this prayer book. Something I ain't never think I would start. You know what I'm saying? We starting to co-author a book on prayer. And it's like, it's happening. And then, of course, there's Mr. Brinson, who is now representing Lecrae. I mean, we can stop right there. You know what I'm saying? And then on the, the 23rd of the month, he's gonna be the keynote speaker at the company that fired him. Like I ain't forget that.
Well, I was laid off. They didn't fire me. They laid me off. But still, yeah.
Whatever it was, you would not have chosen that route. But thank God it happened, because now you're the brand strategist and increasing people's brands and the awesome production work that you're doing for the All Hell Breaks Loose podcast. Which, if you guys have not checked that out yet, trust me, there's going to be contact information somewhere in these posts underneath. And I'm telling you, you want to check out everything that each one of us is doing, because it all starts with gratitude. And with that, I'm going to just pass the mic, because y'all know I can get pretty
somebody drop her right there.
Yeah.
That's real good. That's real good. Yeah. It's real good. For me, grateful to be in the presence of you, three brothers. I know that I haven't been around as much or as active as I was before in the chat that we have. However, you know, I it doesn't take away from the level of gratitude that I feel to know that I have my brothers in arms, and if we have to lock arms, we will. So, you know, it's still something that is a conviction in my heart, and I wanted just to express, you know, just the simple fact that I appreciate you guys for that. For me, in regards to wins, there's too many to list out, and I don't want to take up, you know, all of our time. So we're going to keep it sweet and simple. I'll be a grandfather very soon, so I'll be the likes of Greg, right? We're almost there. So that's awesome. You know, I was able to see my grandbaby in the sonogram just about a week ago, and we're having a baby shower really soon, so that's great. We continue to make different types of progress. And what I mean by that, I had a great conversation with Sister Darlin in regards to things that she's doing. So that was amazing. I felt super grateful for the opportunity and privilege. For me, it was a huge win just to be given the opportunity the same way I am here. You know, the same thing with Brad and I, you know, working on now the power of prayer, and hopefully, you know, we're going to solidify a date pretty soon where we're going to publish that book. And like that, I have so many wins, but I'm going to tell you and end it with one thing. One of the things that I'm really grateful for right now in this current state of my life is the challenges that I'm facing more than the good things. And the reason why is because there is nothing that you will face ever, that will prepare you more than the challenges you face. Right? It's real good when you can get in your car, it turns on, and you can drive to wherever you want to, and you got money in the bank to buy what you want. It's a different story when that car don't turn on, or you came outside and you all of a sudden have a flat tire, okay? Or you want to go to the store and buy something, but you ain't got the money for it. How are you grateful in those moments?
Yeah.
And I want to confide and tell you, brothers, that not everything is peaches and cream, how they say, and that's okay. Like even even when things don't work, we need to be grateful. And that's what I'm really like. This month is a no April Fool's month. That's the campaign for this month. And we're not going to be fooled by things that always have to go the way that we believe it should go. Things will be as they need to be because he designed it that way. And we have to be accepting and grateful for it. And that's where I'm at.
That's good. Good stuff, John. Yeah, man. Appreciate that. It's always an encouraging moment with you. I can appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Man, what am I grateful for? So much. I'm grateful for, the wins, the losses, the good stuff, the bad stuff. Right now, I'm grateful to have my family, to wake up with my limbs and my lungs. I know people who are going through some stuff, man, like some heavy stuff. And, health is wealth. And so, we can't take it for granted that we are able to talk, that we're able to just do some of the basics in life, And I think, to John's point, too often we get caught up just being grateful for the things that are deemed blessings, or, the luxuries of life beyond the luxuries, the real luxuries, right? But I think that's because we're too focused on the outcome of things, right? We see a picture of what we want and we're focused on that outcome. But then, when we don't get it, we're disappointed, or when things don't go our way, we're disappointed. We can't be grateful in the outcome of that thing. But that's because we're not thinking about how we're going to come out on the other side, right? Like, our outcomes are who we are on the other end of it, not necessarily the thing that we were hoping for, And so if we could focus on our growth through that pain or through that thing that didn't go our way, then we'll find so many things to be grateful for. So that's where I've been in my journey, is just kind of looking at life and just really soaking it in. Sometimes we get caught in moments in this, especially in this first world, where it's like, oh, I didn't make $20,000 this month. It's like, yeah, somebody didn't make $20,000 last year. So calm down, Mr. American.
Come on.
Yeah, so that's where I am. I'm very thankful, very grateful, just for the little things, the simple things. And as far as wins, Brad already called out my major win. I got a lot of wins that I'm proud of, small, big, medium. But the major one right now is having the ability to speak at my former employer next week. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know how many people are going to be on the call, but they normally do a company-wide blast. So my name is going to go across desk of people that know me. Oh, he's speaking here? Wow. So I'm excited about it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And
it is.
That is the ultimate poetic justice.
Yeah.
They let me go, and now I'm about to show them who I really am.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And not only am I going to show them who I really am, I'm going to show... What did Neo say at the end of the Matrix? I know you're afraid. I'm gonna show these people no bounds, no fear.
Yeah.
They really are.
I'm gonna tell them what you don't want me to tell them.
Hey, Rod, I feel your excitement, because I think I mentioned it before on the last call. I'm in the same situation. My biggest partner, right, in my niche, is my old employer that laid me off. It's interesting, the dichotomy behind that type of situation. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I wouldn't call it a dichotomy, though. I think because so this is another part of the gratitude, right? Like Brad said, had they not laid me off, then I wouldn't be in this position. And on top of that, there are people that need the inspiration that I'm gonna be able to give them. So I just look at it as a continual rolling blessing. Blessing on blessing on blessing. But anyway, we don't want to take away from Greg's moment. Let's get your gratefulness, Greg. What's up? What you grateful for?
I saw that little Lecrae plug. Blessings on blessings on blessings. Yeah.
I didn't even. Oh, is that what it is?
You put that together.
Oh. Remember that, Lecrae.
He's been studying his client. Okay, I'm grateful for a whole lot, but I'm just gonna say it in this sentence. I'm grateful that God allows us to recover at a rate that will survive the transformation. And when you think about that word recover, we were already enough when we were seedling. We already had everything we needed for our journey. And then the world put a my identity, a lie identity. It put all these limitations and fears on us. And we have to go through this long journey of learning, and then unlearning all that stuff and finding out that we were already enough in the beginning. Like who we were without all the rules, without all the regulations, without all of other people's fears and projections of what we can't do because they couldn't do it. When we finally take all that off and we live from here again, and we find out, oh, you mean I was right this whole time to follow my heart? So I'm grateful that that's being uncovered for me. I'm grateful to be a part of y'all's journeys, right? Like, because we've all met in different ways. We all have a interesting story of how we all connected and how this got started and where it's going. But to see where each one of us is from where we were in the beginning, just mind-blowing. I've been in this funk, and I realized just this week why. I spoke everything in my life into existence, and I spoke it right out. Words are that powerful.
They are.
And so I'm grateful for awareness. I'm grateful for the fact that I know what the problem is. I know that I am the biggest problem. I have been the biggest problem. My words have been the biggest problem. My thoughts have been the biggest problem. Angelina Soul, I don't think Brad, you popped in for a minute. She's a Hollywood actress, singer, author, 18 books she wrote, and she's so humble. I'm grateful that from the crack houses with the crackheads to the boardrooms with the billionaires, I found that everyone feels the same. They all feel like they're not worth it. They all feel like, they're not enough. They're all looking over their shoulders to see if they're okay or if it's gonna be enough. And she was so humble. She just dropped that stuff out there like, oh yeah, it was just, it was a stroke of luck. It wasn't me, but these are the words that she gave me that helped me. She said, well, what you're trying to do is you're trying to leave straight from employee into entrepreneur, and you never took a break. You never took some time to unlearn everything you learned as an employee. And so you're approaching entrepreneurship like an employee and you're burned out. She's like, you need to just stop and do absolutely nothing until you feel like doing something again. Like until you can't stand not doing anything anymore. Tell me why 5 weeks of trying to push and grind and do and think and plan and strategize. And in 3 days of sitting and doing absolutely nothing, I can't stand it. All it took was 3 days. And part of me thinks she knows how I work, right? I'm a rebel. Don't tell me what not to do. Don't tell me what to do. I will do what I want to do when I want to do it. How I want to do it.
Greg, don't be successful, man. Don't be the most successful entrepreneur in the world. Okay.
Don't
do that. You. It would be you to say that.
Don't make us laugh. Don't make us laugh at all.
Listen, don't antagonize him.
Why did every cell in my body just wake up?
He's like, what? A church.
By the way, Greg, consistency is really bad. Don't be consistent at all. Just saying.
Don't do it. Don't post every day. Don't post every day. Don't share all your thoughts.
Right. Don't
consistency is not really key.
Okay.
Consistency isn't key. So
look at his face. He's like shots of adrenaline.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta post every day. I gotta be consistent.
Exactly. I'm about to jump off this call.
Listen,
well, man, let me tell you something. I've watched so much. You know what? I cannot tell you guys how much of a joy it is learning more and more about my craft. Because when you lean into your strengths and you find other people and other sources that are doing that also, and you kind of see the similarities between you and them, it strengthens you, man. You know, learning another language, finding out the nuances of body language, communication, facial expressions, how to do sign language, like stuff like that just piques my interest. Different practices with voiceover. And in doing all that, being able to come back here and share that with you guys so that, you know, not only am I practicing it, but I'm increasing in my craft while you guys are doing it also in your various methods, is just enriching, because I think we're all made the more wiser for it. With all the information that we're absorbing, I know that every man within this, you know, within this meeting has gone through rigorous personal development in some way, shape, or form. I know that they all have a desire to succeed, but more so than that, a desire to serve, because we all know I guess we've unlearned the fact that in order to succeed, we must serve instead of just striving and grinding and trying to do so much. It's that 9-to-5 mentality that we're shedding, and it's almost all the way shed now. For some of us, we're a little bit further, some of us not so much, but we're all on that same path. And when I put realignment on our agenda right after the gratitude and, you know, the giving of the flowers, I knew that that would take care of itself automatically. And that's exactly what it did. Because the one thing the GFB does is we all align under the foundation of gratitude. We start with it and we end with it. And everything that happens in between is just made the better for it. It's like a good sandwich, man. Everybody knows a sandwich ain't good unless the bread is good. You got terrible, soggy, wet, nasty bread. It doesn't matter what's in the middle. That joint is terrible. If we place in a loaf of gratitude at the top and a nice loaf of gratitude at the bottom, it don't matter if it gets smashed or melted. That joint's going to be perfect every time.
Okay.
And this is just another example of it. And when we're moving from that portion towards the next portion of our agenda, which is our avatar, it's really become visceral to me. Because with my increased exposure online, something I was apprehensive of to begin with, I've had people who haven't reached out to me in a very long time reach out, not only give me words of affirmation, but tell me that they watching. They don't have to tell me, you know, I'm inspired by you. I don't need all that. They just said, I see you, B. You know what I'm saying? Like that's as much as you get with some people. And it will be as much as they can give. And that leads me to our avatar. A lot of us right now that I know, that are my colleagues, that are my friends who may not be in this line of work, they're going through, like, as you said, some difficult and serious times. There are some stressful things happening, not only in our nation's economy, but in our nation's government. And it is filtered down to the working class. Prices are getting higher. A lot of people are wondering how they're going to make ends meet a year from now, 2 years from now, having that view of what will become, when they thought that what they had already established, that routine of going in, clocking in underneath somebody else's guidance, they thought that was going to be sustaining them until, you know, their retiring years. And it's a belief that our parents had and they taught to us because that's what they had at the time. But now we're in such a drastic area of change, such an amazing time of trends and opportunity based on exposure and real personal authentic content, that how could we not only take advantage of it with what we have to offer, but direct it at that person, that middle-aged person. I kind of see this happening around individuals who are in their upper late 30s, early 40s. It's around that time you start to get awareness. You start to look at your life. It was classified as midlife crisis when I was. That's what they called it. And crisis is a flipping serious word. I mean, you think of crisis, it's like, you know, there's an earthquake in the city and like half the buildings fall. That's a crisis. But people call it a midlife crisis when it's simply a reorganizing or an assessment of where your life is, finding out you're not satisfied with it, having no solution on how to get it to where you want it to be, and therefore just sitting in what you are in with a state of almost hopelessness, not knowing that the gratitude that you can generate, as John said, when things are going either good or bad, can pull you out of all that. I'm often reminded of the children of Israel when they left Egypt. Oh, they were sliced, which in DC terms, that's like real, like boosted or happy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means in DC terms. They were sliced when they left Egypt. God just finished showing out, throwing down 10 plagues. And then the final one, they thought that all the children of Israel, their firstborn sons, were going to die, but not so. They had the blood over the doorposts, and everybody in Egypt, even down to the animals' firstborn, died. That's how powerful that curse was. If you read it in certain chapters, that's exactly what they said happens. But then they were happy when they left. They left with great abundance. But then they got out there in the wilderness and they started to complain. They started to remember back when they had things that they didn't have to worry about, when they had the meat and the flesh pots of Egypt, so the word calls it and says it so effortlessly. And they started to complain. And it got to the point where God was like, you know what, Moses, you take them in. But Moses stood in the gap between the people and God. He was like, nah, man, what they going to say about your name? It's like the whole world knows you did all this. You can't abandon them now. And in that gap, I think we stand for everybody else. Because we've come to know God that much more based on the risks that we've taken. If it were not for the risk that I took almost a year from now and going to Tampa Bay with nothing in my pockets, this whole meeting wouldn't be taking place.
True.
That's how I know this is real, man. That's how I know it's real. Because the way he just puts stuff together in our lives, and I'm like, okay, if you're putting us together for something this serious, if all that had to take place for this to come to pass, then who do we serve?
Preach. Right.
He said, hey, look, whatever's happening right now, y'all already know it ain't planned.
So
this
let me
is necessary, man. This is
I
what
like the fact that you brought up the children of Israel, though, because I mean that it gets brought up a lot with people that understand the story. But it's a no better time than this to bring it up, because a lot of us are in the wilderness of our lives and we're trying to figure out which way to go. And it's not that the people were complaining that they were free. They were complaining because times were hard. But the current times were hard and the previous times were hard. But you forget how times were hard before, when all you can look at is what you don't have today. You know what I mean? You forget what you've been through and what you've made it through, because all of us have 100%, free throw percentage in life in terms of making it through the difficult moments. All of us have made it that are on this call, that are listening to this call. You made it 100% of the time. But when you were in it, you thought it was going to be all over. You thought the world was falling apart. You know what I mean? And so those people did the same thing. But, God being who he is, he gave them manna. He gave them bread from heaven, and they were able to eat, and they weren't hungry anymore. And then after so much time, they're like, yeah, this is good, but we want some meat, And then he blew a wind from the east, I think it says, and gave them some quail, and they had meat to eat. And I think they still were complaining after that. They were like, yeah, but at least in slavery, we had onions. Like, okay, you know what? And then I think God had enough at that point. That's when they, got some more punishment. And I'm bringing that up to say this. We prayed for the things that we have right now. The good, the bad, the indifferent, the opportunity to be a businessman, the opportunity to get off of the golden handcuffs and all of these other things that we were moaning and groaning about, whether it's out loud or with our spirit. Right. So let's not forget that this is the plate that we asked for. Yes, the plate is heavy. Yes, it's a lot to take in. But this is what we asked for. It's not going to always look pretty. Somebody said something earlier, peaches and cream. I hear that phrase all the time. I always like to look at it like this. Life is a rose. It smells good. It looks pretty, but it also has thorns. And you can't get rid of one to get the other. They come together. It's a package. Right. So be grateful for what you have and focus on not being so caught up in the lack thereof, or the perceived lack thereof. Yeah.
That's so good, man. And I want to come back to a word, because you said crisis is buildings falling and everything's falling apart. Can I define crisis for y'all real quick and just blow your minds?
Yeah.
Crisis simply means turning point. That's all it is. So midlife turning point. Or another way for it, midlife repentance. Right? We're turning away from the old way to do something new. It just looks like chaos to everyone that's still in the matrix, to everyone that's still programmed to do the thing that feels safe, right? You're in the middle of your life and you realize you don't have much more time left here.
Yeah.
So you have less days in front of you than you do behind you, and you've wasted all of that time living a lie. And when you wake up and that veil is removed and you realize I am slaving away, spending my best years helping someone else live their best years. And I can do this for myself and actually serve the people that I'm meant to serve the way that I'm meant to serve them. Look, those people in Egypt, they were not grateful. Plain and simply. Like, we see that clearly. Mm-hmm. They got that same talking themselves out of their blessing that I got just recently. Like, I talked myself out of my, I won't say that. It felt like I talked myself out of my blessing because I left slavery, and at least there was meat, and at least I knew what I was getting every week or every month on the 7th. Was it really better? Was it a blessing? I mean, for that time, yes. Or maybe it was just a prequel. Maybe it was just a foreshadowing of what's possible and something to let me know that I'm actually worth that, right? Because God does not make mistakes. Every bit of our journey, good and bad, is preparing us for something else. And we have to be grateful for, like you said, Rod, all of it. The good, the bad, the successes, the failures, the embarrassments, the I wish I wouldn't have said that, right? We learn better and faster from feedback, and that's why we got to take action. And the best way to take action, my gratitude speaks when I care and I share with another human in a loving manner. My gratitude speaks service. And if I'm grateful for the things I have, if I'm grateful for the way that God has blessed me and the gifts that he's blessed me with, it is not my job to go hide those talents, pun intended, right?
Right.
It is my job to go share that talent with the world.
But Greg, I hate to say this behind what you just said, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't. I do think that it's not a waste of time, right? I don't think it's wasted time when a person is pursuing a 9-to-5 and, doing what they need to do for their family and those type of things. I think it's all a part of time and a part of the design so that you can be who you need to be with the right mind frame in order to go into this thing full-fledged, because everything happens for a reason. The corporate life that I had before built my forever home, and it allowed me the fortitude to make the right connections and do all of this stuff to lead up to this point in my life, right? So it might not be the time frame that looks good on TV. Oh, at 30, I knew exactly what I was going to do and I became a billionaire. Sounds great. That's a movie, right? But most people in this world don't really find their mark until their 40s or their 50s. Right. And then they begin a career of successfulness, you know what I mean, in the thing that they love or the thing that they were purposed to do. But I feel very confident they would not have been able to do that had it not been for their 20s and 30s working these jobs. So if anybody's out here working a 9-to-5, don't feel like you're missing a boat because you're not doing the thing you love. However, you do need to pursue it so that you understand that thing a little bit more. So as you get to that place where you're ready to make that leap, now you're making the leap in a place that you've already had some kind of experience with.
Man, come on. So I'm glad. See, that's the traces. It's such, everything we do is habit. It has become such a habit to complain and talk myself out of the blessings that are there for me. If I would just speak gratitude, then I'm already like, it's just a habit of saying, oh, that 9-to-5 corporate life, right? Because that's what I've heard people around me saying. That's what I've gotten used to saying because it was a way of life. But you're right. It wasn't a waste. No, there is no waste. There is absolutely no waste. It was preparation. Right. I had to go through that to know that I was ready for this. I had to learn what I had to learn in this season for me to show up for this reason. So I can have a better lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No, for sure, man. I hear it and I'm like, but I'm an optimist by nature. I'm gonna always look at the glass half full. I don't care if it's a third full. I'm like, no, that's a half, right? That's just who I am. And it's the same thing with other opportunities. So I just feel like the more we look at things from a point of view of I'm in the right place at the right time, and there is no mistake. You said it yourself. God doesn't make mistakes, and we have the Spirit of God in us. Now that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes, but that does mean when our lives are intertwined with his, and he's ruling over us and we're dependent on him, he's going to guide us through our mistakes so that they become our blessing on the other end of it.
Amen.
I think they're automatically that. I agree with what you're saying and what you just said. But it's already a part of. So I don't know exactly which in your journey of life, each one of you guys, I don't know where you are. I can speak for myself.
I'm in Atlanta.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I can speak for myself where literally I've gone through what the masses go through when it comes to a midlife crisis. Okay. I'll be 45 this year. I had a 20-year marriage, not a relationship, a marriage come to an end. I lost everything that you can think of conceptually and physically and in every sense of the word. And I can tell you and attest to the fact that what we're discussing has to do with awareness, simply put. You get to a point in your life where you did everything possible to create this life, not for you, for everyone else, because that's why we're here. And all we look for is a sense of value and correspondence from the other person. Do you understand? And it doesn't necessarily have to just be your spouse. This is literally anybody and everybody you encounter in your life. You want to see that you are of value to them. This is why you provide. Okay? Once you don't get that, or you see the mundane, boom, you wake up. That's what happens. Now you're aware of your surroundings. I gave my life to my kids. I gave my life to my wife, to my job, to my this, to my that, and eventually, where was I? And that's what happens.
Wow.
So now the lights are turned on and everything scatters, and you're like, okay, why am I here by myself? Right? Why? Because you did nothing for you and everything for everyone else.
Wow.
You understand? And that doesn't work that way, because we're designed to be able to be of service to people. But in order to do that, you have to be complete.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You understand? So what happens? You go through this process, and this is why I say awareness, and it's very specific. Let's not use gratitude. Let's use awareness, because gratitude, unfortunately, is this word that just like is so, everybody's so quick to say it. It doesn't have the substance. It really doesn't anymore. But if you're consciously aware, okay, you're able to look back and say, okay, like to Rod's point and to Greg and even Brad, this is in preparation. Okay, but guess what? When you get to this point, that halfway point, guess what happens? It gets worse. It doesn't get better. It's not that I'm aware and now I'm better. No, it gets worse. Okay? You go into debt. You lose everything you thought you had, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a home, right? I had no choice. I had to sell my house. I had a beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bath home with a pool and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I had to sell my house. I couldn't afford it. Do you understand? I hate to take it to a serious level, but this is serious, because it's people's lives that they feel a kind of way because they're stuck. And we're here to tell them it's okay to be stuck. Identify that you're stuck and then acknowledge it. What Greg said. Okay, if you can't acknowledge it for yourself, come talk to us. We'll let you know where you're stuck at. Okay? But once you acknowledge it, now it no longer has dominion over you. Why? Because you were able to express the fact that you know that it's there. You're conscious of it. Now it no longer has possession over you.
Yeah.
And then you make a choice. And you start walking in that choice as you're unpacking all these loads and all these things that are on top of you and weighing you down, until you get to the point where you make that decision to cut away everything, and it will never come back. Okay? And then guess what? Now you're reborn. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. You're over dropping gems.
Whoa. You sure we don't need to be in the pulpit, guys?
I do have a question though that came up, Brad, real quick. And I'm just curious, like, where we're going, like looking at the climate in the world and all of that stuff, and all these software companies and places laying people off by the thousands, and you got a massive like exodus, pun intended, of people wanting to get into entrepreneurship and stuff, right? Like, where are we going with this? Like, is this what God is doing? Is this like, are we getting ready to run into a wall where we got 800 business owners and 3 customers? You know what I mean? Like, or is it a situation where, people are just waking up and their eyes are being opened and this is what God wants? Like, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel like it's about to be like a tango in the desert with all the people that's doing the same thing? Or like,
I think
not at all. Go ahead, Brad.
I think there's truth to the majority of what you said. There are a lot of safeguards that were in place in a lot of people's lives that even within the first couple months of the current administration have been yanked up to so much so to the point where we have had several days on weekends where the entire nation has held protests about what is going on. When it gets to that level of seriousness, when stock prices are fluctuating at such a level that we've not seen since past depressions, when we're getting tariffs, being jacked up on certain countries. And then now we have all these rumors going on with the trade war with China and so forth. A lot of people don't even have the bandwidth to absorb that type of news just because of what's happening currently in their own lives with the awareness that John is talking about that's just coming to light. Yeah. But I tell you what God does, man. He always puts people in position who are prepared to offer their service at the highest point in the highest time. Mm-hmm. One thing I used to struggle with is I knew the fact all the time that people kept coming up to me, even this past week at that service I was officiating. They said, "You got this gift, man. What are you doing with it? What you doing?" And I used to hate that question so much because I couldn't answer, and I would be frustrated. And it pushed me to the point to try to launch out and do something with that gift on my own power, thinking I was acting for God to say, well, maybe he blessed me when I start getting it going. Mm-hmm. I was put into a position where there was disappointment, where I was using my gift, but it wasn't bringing the same fulfillment that I thought I would be getting for doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Moses when he was sent up into Pharaoh's men outside of his own people. He didn't know why he was selected out of the bulrushes that day when they had decreed that all firstborn males should be killed. He didn't make that choice, but he was put into a position so he could see both sides of it, so that he could be prepared in an area of leadership. Mm-hmm. So that when it was time, he could be sent back and he would lead and guide based on the experience that he already had. And he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah.
When God came up with him, smoke pun intended, when God came up to him with a bush that wasn't smoking, he told him, he's like, "Yo, I need you to go back and get my folks." And Moses offered excuse upon excuse. Bro, I can't talk, man. They ain't gonna listen to me, fam. I done killed somebody back there. They probably still looking for me. What you want me to do?
Right.
And when he finally consented, it was because God said, "You know what? Since you gave me so much flack, go ahead and take your brother with you. And I'm gonna teach you a small lesson. I'm gonna have you tell him what to do, just like I'm telling you what to do. And when you see him doing the part that you're supposed to play, then maybe you'll get it, and you'll stop using your brother to do what you're supposed to do in the first place." Mm-hmm. So he'll see, that's the type of father and the creator that we serve, man. He will bring us support. But what he needs to do with each one of us is have us in that own personal, private wilderness experience so we can toughen it up. And he can trust us during the hard times. So when we start getting people who are leaning on us a little bit, who maybe ain't been through what John been through, or maybe they have, and they about to pull the trigger tonight. if you catch my drift. Or maybe they done been where Greg has been, and they've been jacked up and called names, bullied all their young life, and they don't know what to do now because they've been so jacked up, they don't know how to move those beliefs. Or maybe they've been like me, and they had a gift of communication that was so powerful that they were afraid to use it around certain audiences because you'd be looked at as weird or strange, or why do you think or talk like that? So they maybe just turn the volume all the way down and sit in the back, just don't say nothing and be cool with it. Or they could be like you, Rod. Got the talents to be able to see vision and how to better promote yourself in certain spaces and certain areas. But, you know.
Man, I want to address this too. John, I've been through what you've been through, but not at the same time. And I don't want to just gloss over this because I see the pain. I know you dropped off on the calls.
The pain? Go ahead. I'm listening.
It's divorce is not easy. Losing everything you thought was forever. And everything that comes with that. I think God put me through a lot early in life because I got divorced at 30. It was 2009. I don't know how old I was. But I had been married for 8 years. And we stayed together another 4 after that. It was the most toxic relationship I could have ever been in. But it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because she kept threatening a divorce. And I was like, just do it. If you really hate me that bad and you want to cheat on me and do all these things to me, just divorce me. And she finally did it. And even though it's what we both wanted, when those papers got to me on the day of our anniversary, which would have been our 8th anniversary, I still felt like crushed. It was like, regardless of how she treated me, I still loved her. She was the mother of my kids, right? But the gift, the gift wrap blessing in that was for me to learn who I was, to stop. Like, I don't remember who said it, but it was you. It was you, John. Like, you did everything for someone else. So from the time I was 4 to the time I don't remember when I got divorced, like 27, 28, my whole life had been about someone else. I'd been an uncle since I was 4. I was too young of a sibling to be with my siblings, but too old to be with their kids. So I was the babysitter. And so that created this feeling in me that I needed to be a caretaker, and I wanted kids when I didn't. I wasn't even good at taking care of their kids, but it was all I knew. And I'm guessing that's where the people pleaser was born, right? It's I have to take care of everyone else. Like, that's my duty. But the biggest gift that came from it, from being separated from it all, sometimes I think God has to cut it off because we don't know when to, right? So that we can find who we are and live from that power that we were meant to give. Because like you were talking about, Brad, when we do what we think God wants us to do, because God, it seems like something God would want us to do. Well, that's what my whole life had been, was doing what I probably still doing it now. Because when I told Brad, you just got to hustle, you just got to take more action. He's like, no, you just got to sit still and wait for the Lord to tell you when to move. Stop all that hustle BS. Like this little thing, right? I can't even point in the right direction. Good things come to those who hustle. I got that because my mom's always called me a hustler, because no matter what happened, I always took care of things and made them happen. Or like my son came to me 3-4 years ago and he's like, man, I get it. I'm 18, 19 years old and I can barely take care of myself, and I don't have any bills. I don't have any kids. I don't have half of the things you had at my age. So I forgive you. It was one of those, like, I didn't even realize everything that you were going through at the age you had us. So I guess all of that was said. And I think you said this on one of our other calls, Brad. Rejoice. Again, I say rejoice. Even in all of the whatever feels negative or whatever feels like a bad thing, it's all for the awareness. Like you said, it's just awareness. Gratitude is awareness, but the word is overused. right? Nobody knows what gratitude really means.
Why don't you enlighten us here, Gregory? What does gratitude really mean? Well, you just said no one knows, so that would include you, right?
Well, I mean,
I don't really know, you know what I mean?
I could pretend to know, but my best understanding of gratitude is the perspective of counting your blessings. Like, you can look at everything wrong, but then that's praising the wrong thing. So gratitude is just another word for praising God for everything. Being optimistic like Rod, right? Like, you can choose to focus on the negative aspect of the facts or the positive aspect of the fact. I think that gratitude is just focusing on the positive aspect of the fact. That awareness shifts towards no matter what happened, right? I wrecked my car. It's like Brad did that story of the Chinese farmer. Maybe. Maybe. This is so bad for you. You wrecked your car. I don't know. Could be. Maybe so, maybe not. Maybe we'll see, right? We don't know enough to be pessimistic. We really don't. We can't see that far into the future to know whether something is truly good or bad. So we might as well be grateful because we know our Father's working behind the curtains, right? It's not a setback, it's a setup.
John, you were going to respond to that?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna try to piggyback a little bit. So just so that we understand, the information I gave you guys is a glimpse into what Brad was talking about regarding those we can help, right?
Yeah.
What you're interpreting as one thing, I interpret it specifically as passion and as gratitude. So when I say, hey, let's change the word from gratitude to awareness.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because most people have an interpretation of love, but don't understand that love lives inside of anguish, despair. Love lives inside of joy, blissfulness, lust. Love is all.
Yeah.
Gratitude is the same. There is no distinction. We use it and want to perceive it as, hey, or interpret it as, hey, gratitude is when something positive happens. But it's really not. It's really an awareness and understanding that the bad thing that happened to me needed to happen because it prevented possibly something else, or it just needed to happen because that's what was going to happen, because his plan is better than my plan because he knows all plans. But we're too busy being busy and not enough allowing things to be as it is. Because remember, he is the I am of I am. While we're not.
Yeah.
So most of the time we either feel anticipation or anxiety because of whatever we're going through. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Okay. We're too busy. We're too busy. The second point that I really want to emphasize on, and that's super important. The things that happen to everybody, it doesn't matter who it is. The things that happen that you perceive as bad, okay? They happen, in my perspective, because they need to happen. Why? We are very quick to take glory over the things that we accomplish. So let's celebrate the small wins. Let's celebrate the big wins. But when you're down, literally in a place where no one else can save you and only he can,
come on.
Guess who you give the glory to?
Every time.
Yeah.
You understand? This is the reason why we get to a certain point and then all of a sudden Boom, we wake up. Why? The first season of your life, call it between the age of birth to 35 to 40-ish, okay? You're on your own. You could do whatever you want to do. And then all of a sudden, something happens. And it's one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. And guess what? Once you hit rock bottom, you tend to find our Father at the end saying, I've always been here. I've never left you astray. And I'm here now. That is why most, specifically male men, okay, go through solitude and not isolation. Those that go in isolation will suffer the wrath of isolation, which is very dangerous. But solitude is something else. You regain your covenant with our Father in that solitude, because ain't nobody gonna come and save you. You understand? What you see isn't pain, it's conviction, because I understand and I am aware. And that's all it is. That's all it is. I just wanted to share it with you guys.
No, I love that clarification. Mr. Question Everything needs to ask more questions instead of making more assumptions.
You're good.
And I feel like God put me out here as the most curious person to ask the least questions. So I have a question for you. What is the difference, in your opinion, between isolation and solitude? Because they feel the same to me.
They're not. Unfortunately, I'm not versed enough to give you an answer based on scripture, but it is in the scripture.
Okay.
In reference to the distinction between the two. What I can tell you that my experience has been is when I'm in isolation, I want to literally not be a part of anything.
Yeah.
When I'm isolated, I disconnect and disassociate myself from anything and everything that can be good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter. Like you're done. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you're in solitude, you're almost grieving the loss of that other part of you. And the only way you can properly mourn the loss of that other part of you, because you're completely changing. I'm very different in oh my goodness. There's so much going on in my brain. I'm sorry. But I'm very different from what I was in reference to aspirations and my love for God and the choices that I'm making in my life and different things like that. Like my habits are almost the same. I've always been an early riser. I've always believed in a routine. I've always had a certain set structure for my life. That wasn't the thing. The thing was, I thought I could do it myself. You can't. You can't, right? But you only learn that through solitude, because within that solitude, your conversation, which, Greg, you remember from our last talk, I told you, for me, life is based on the conversations you have had, you will have, and you haven't had.
Yeah.
That's your life. Life is built upon conversations. And in solitude, when you start having conversations with the Most High, and you start listening, it changes everything.
Man, you said a lot, John, and I don't have the biblical definition either, but when you said isolation is different from solitude, it hit with me. And the way I look at it, Greg, is, isolation is a caterpillar that decides to crawl the whole journey. Solitude is the caterpillar that decides to go into a cocoon. It's like an intentional decision to do something by yourself, to grow yourself into something else. You know what I mean? So that's the way it hit me.
I don't know if you can see it, but look,
I'm buying robes. I'm buying robes. I'm getting the blue robe. I'm getting John a red robe. I'm getting Rod a purple robe, and I'm getting you an orange robe. You understand?
Rod, that was it, brother. That was it.
Wow. That's what I got from what you said. When you said it, I'm sitting over here like, oh, because at first I was with Greg. I'm like, those are the same thing. And it was like, no. And then I got that vision. So yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
This is the reason why we connect. This is the reason why we always have room within the conversation for it to evolve and for the spirit to do its thing. And I know that there has been speech, in prior times of our commitment to at least do this one time a month, just once a month, man. And if we exceed that goal, then all praises to his name. But this certainly needs to happen. So many people I know are going to benefit just from this casual conversation. Like, this wasn't a scheduled recording for like an official pod, but we know that when these four minds come together, amazing things happen. So it needed to be recorded. And I know that going forward, I know we're going to have it on the third Thursday, because I want to ratify that, make sure that every man agrees. The third Thursday of every month, we're going to be sitting down for at least an hour to have conversations like these. And promotion is going to be, as each one of us is able to, especially on the platform in which we are, have the strongest, I guess, showing. Rod is probably strong everywhere. I know I'm strong on at least Facebook and Instagram. John is on TikTok and Instagram as well. So definitely be on the lookout for these types of conversations, for these types of broadcasts and posts, because we want to gain not only a following. It is not for the following specifically. We want to gain the people who we are meant to serve and have them be able to benefit from the knowledge of not just gratitude, but more so awareness, especially as it has been defined tonight. So I wanted to find out from you gentlemen, just because I'm looking at our time and I want to be faithful to it, what are some of the last words or thoughts that you would want to give out to anybody watching in regards to our topics tonight, whether it be on awareness, on gratitude, because I know we piqued a lot of interest. There are definitely people who find themselves in the situations that we've been talking about tonight. What can we give them before we give them some more, possibly next month or in the upcoming days?
Spend some time with your father.
In solitude.
In solitude. That just blew my brain all the way off. But also, guys, love on the people that are here with you while they're still here.
Yeah. Man,
yes.
You're taking my smoke.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're taking my smoke, man.
Yeah.
It don't take nothing but a second. Allow yourself to be present with the people around you, good, bad, or indifferent. It's okay. And understand that it's okay to not be okay. You can say that, okay? Because as soon as you acknowledge it, it no longer has dominion over you. But if you try to fight it, it's going to get harder. I promise.
Yeah. I would just say to people out here trying to figure out life, just realize that everybody's in the same boat. Doesn't matter what level you think somebody is on, they're still trying to figure life out. And if you look at yourself and you compare yourself to somebody else, whether they have more or less, you're doing yourself a disservice. The goal is for you to look at yourself and say, you know what? I'm okay right where I am, just like John just mentioned. And it's okay if I don't have everything that I want to have, or I didn't get it at the age that I wanted to get it. You still have time. Just work hard at it and rest, and work hard at it and rest.
One thing you can always be sure of, man, is our Father. He sits outside of time. Whatever time you thought you wasted, he can bring it back. He can transform the years that the locust and the cankerworm have eaten. He can trade, and you can trade in your ashes, and he'll give you beauty. He sits outside of all this. The plan is already put together, and he shifts things around as he sees fit. And I'm so grateful and thankful that he shifted us and put us together for this particular time right now. So please be on the lookout for more information and for more broadcasts by the Grateful Brothers, aka the GFB. This is Brad Tramel, and I'm with my brothers John Soba, Rod Brinson, and Gregory Rutledge. And until the next time we see you, may the Most High bless and keep you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Peace.